Everybody wants to be heard, but how do we ensure that the things that we say get remembered? Tanya Illman is walking down a beach in West Australia. The date is March 6th, 2 weeks ago. As she walks down the beach, she notices that there's tons of garbage and decides that she's going to do her part to keep the planet beautiful and clean up a bit. She's cleaning up this garbage and notices amongst the garbage a bottle, picks up the bottle and says, "Oh, that's so nice. Maybe I'll bring it home. It'll be a nice addition to my living room." And then she notices that inside the bottle is what looks like a cigarette. They tip this cigarette out and realize that it's a rolled up piece of paper tied shut with a little ribbon. Initially, they can't see anything that's written on this piece of paper, but they realize that on the reverse side, there's a printed message asking them to take it to the German consulate. When they get home, they realize that this piece of paper is a little moist, so they stick it in the oven for 5 minutes. When the paper dries up a little bit, they notice that there's handwriting on it. They cannot believe their eyes. The date that comes up is June 12th, 1886. The bottle has been afloat in the ocean for 132 years, the oldest message in a bottle ever discovered. A quick search on the internet and some phone calls later, they realized that this note, which had the name of the ship Paula on it, was actually confirmed. It was a German ship. They were doing some tests and they threw bottles in the ocean to see how long and how far those messages would reach. What struck me about this story was not just the interesting tidbit of information that someone found the bottle a little while later, but rather the message that it brought home. There were messages that we could put out into the world that would be remembered decades, centuries even later. But there are certain simple things that we need to do to ensure that the messages that we put out to others, to our children, to the people that we're trying to teach, carry on through the distance and the space of time. The Torah tells us that Moshe commands Aaron and his children, Tzav et Aharon ve'et banav, command Aaron and his children. Rashi quotes the most beautiful idea. When we say the word tzav, it means something different than just what we associate with the word command. En tzav ela lashon ziruz. The word command here in Hebrew means more than that. It means to be mizarez, to encourage, to make someone excited to do something, to give them a sense of urgency that this that I'm telling you is important. Miyad uledorot. Rashi ends by saying that this urgency of the message needs to be for now, uledorot, and for many generations. But why specifically does this message that Moshe gives to Aaron and his children need the extra oomph to ensure that it will carry on? And Rashi quotes the Talmud in Kiddushin, which says, Amar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon used to teach that anything which involves chisaron kis, where you're out of pocket, a person needs the extra agency, the extra oomph to ensure that they get the job done. Researchers said that the reason why that bottle's message survived for so long was on account of the fact that the walls of the glass were thick and the opening of the bottle was narrow. It ensured that water couldn't get in and ruin the message even more than it did. But as well, the walls of the glass were thick so it could survive being tossed from place to place. We communicate with our children the truths that we feel will ensure that they have long, happy, and productive lives. We teach them to look both ways before they cross the street. We teach them to make sure that when they invest time, effort, money, that they've done their due diligence to ensure that that was something that was worthwhile investing in. But for these messages to ring in their ears, when times are stormy, when they're in a relationship and they don't know how they feel, where something seems too good to be true and they put their hard-earned cash behind what can turn out to be a pyramid scheme. We want our voice to ring in their ears, so we need to make sure that the things that we teach them are protected by a narrow entry point, that they're so clear about how important that message is that they don't let anything else dilute the power of your words. To do that, it needs to be kept simple. It needs to be explained. If we tell our kids things, if we teach people things without them understanding why they are important, then they don't go the extra step of making sure that they protect those things. But there's one other point. The words themselves were almost lost forever. They could barely see them. And I think that speaks to the relevance of the message that you give over. The second thing is, aside from giving over the urgency of protecting the message and how precious it is the way in which it was written. Those words were almost lost to us because of a little bit of moisture that got in. And I think that ensuring that what we say is relevant in a long time is also crucial to the kids or to the students that we want to inspire holding on to it. Can what I say today be applicable always? If I can communicate what I'm saying into a deep, essential truth about the human psyche, then no matter what country you live in, no matter if social media has overtaken communications, no matter if you live primarily in an online world or the real world, the human being themselves is unchanged. If I can translate the messages of Judaism and Torah into the essence of what it is to be human, then those messages will survive forever. Shabbat Shalom.